Hey, what's up, everybody? BDL44 coming at you with another video. All right, so of course I just came up with this trade idea where I had all kinds of different players shooting back and forth between the Brooklyn Nets, the Miami Heat, the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Spurs. And what I was trying to do here was just try to make sure it made sense. Walk away from the situation and then let that antagonist in my head tell me why my trade idea didn't make any sense. So that's exactly what I want to do, is kind of come up here and try to fill in the blanks of some things that maybe I didn't fill in that might keep a team or two from wanting to do my own deal because I have that kind of brain. So let's check this out. The thing about my Lakers situation and what I don't like about my deal is that we have taken back so much salary and we've kind of closed the door on short-term flexibility. Kyle Lowry, we definitely can't trade that. We definitely cannot trade that. Once we bring in Kyle Lowry at 2 years, $28 million, we can't trade that. But it's going to be a player that you can bring in whose game is not predicated on speed, just like Kyrie Irving, who's an NBA champion, who can stretch the floor and give us shooting, which is what we need. So you may not be able to add any more shooting after doing a deal like this, but you do bring in two NBA champion all-star caliber players who can help you. Also, what I really like about the idea of bringing a player like Kyle Lowry is another facilitator for our squad. He's yet another basketball player who can help keep continuity strong, help keep the other young guys going. He's an older guy, but keep the young guys involved, particularly in second units. We would have elite playmaking, and I like the idea of having him on the floor with some of the other guys that we have, like Austin Reeves and Pippen and stuff like that. We can have some really interesting dynamics while we're resting our stars with lineups that Kyle Lowry can be involved in. So I don't expect him to play many games because he does sit a lot of games. But that's one of the perks I was trying to provide the Heat in regards to softening the blow for losing all of the talent that they're going to lose with Hero and Jovic. And Duncan Robinson, even though he's not very desirable, I think, going out the door. Max Strus and his expiring contract going out. The key is Jovic's contract. Nobody in their right mind is going to want to move that. It's extremely valuable in this climate. So that's why I wanted to give them some real significant cap relief with Kyle Lowry coming out and also Duncan Robinson coming out for them. So they're going to be taking back Kevin Durant. They're going to be taking back Josh Richardson. But what I try to do is make it so that I save them some money, to leave Kevin Durant some flexibility, to leave them some sense of flexibility. That was my goal, not to leave Kevin Durant with just him, Bam, and Jimmy, and that's it. Like, if they're going to do this, they got to be able to at least try to make something happen. So this will give them somewhere within those 4 years, they should be able to get themselves out of any bind that they're in right now. So that was my thinking. Little relief there. And with the Spurs, look, I depleted them of players that I don't know that they can re-sign. A guy like Keldon Johnson, I don't know that he's coming back. Expiring $3.9 million contract. There's a chance they lose him for nothing, So maybe to get some picks back for him, or in total, the Spurs would be getting back picks for all that they lose. So like Jakob Poeltl, maybe they go back to the drawing board with him. Maybe they end up overpaying for Jakob Poeltl. Why bother? Does he really fit with your ultimate player, who's going to be Victor Wembanyama? If everything falls into place for the Spurs, he doesn't even fit with Jakob Poeltl. So you're going to move him, or you're going to overpay him. Help yourself now and get rid of him now. Send him to Brooklyn in this deal. Keldon Johnson in this situation, another player that's expiring. I don't know if he's going to resign. Probably would resign with the Spurs, but then again, I thought DeJounte Murray was going to resign with the Spurs. Either way, my thinking was Keldon Johnson is going to hurt this cause because this dude can really, really play. So if he steps in next year and has an all-star season or averages double-digit rebounds like he's capable of doing, that could be a problem for their tanking situation. Now, he's been a part of losing teams, but I'm just saying he's ready to take a step forward. I would not leave him in a position to where he can't necessarily be his best self this upcoming season. It's not the year for him to be tanking. So I figured I'd get him out of that situation. So that was my thinking, man. Like, the Spurs are losing some real key guys, but I'm also letting them get rid of that Josh Richardson contract, which I know nobody wants that. No one wants that. So they getting him out of there. He's not going to hurt the timeline either. And they keep some other guys that I know they really, really want. As you notice in my deal, you didn't see, what's the guy's name? Primo. Some of the other guys that they have, like Vassell, I didn't even get. They don't have to lose these guys. They're still on the Spurs. So that was key for me, is making sure that I look at some of those key guys that I actually really believe in on that Spurs team, and I left them alone. And so that's what they get to keep low key. Their team is still going to be pretty solid, even though they're losing some key guys. And ultimately, like I said, they're taking back pick equity. Depending on how many is agreed upon and all of that, that's ultimately a key for the Spurs, because they're taking it back. Russell Westbrook, of whom we know doesn't fit their timeline, is a bad contract, expiring. They probably have to pay to go home, etc. And Max Strus, who's a guy who's just going to be expiring very soon, probably they're going to negotiate with or buy out immediately and end up a free agent or something like that. So he's just a throw-in that's in the situation, but also a player with some value. He's a throw-in, but not just any throw-in, a throw-in that we've seen play in the playoffs and have a big role with a team that made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. So I thought that could be a little valuable piece. It's such a very, very inexpensive contract for the Spurs to kind of sneaky bring in and further expand their flexibility situation. So I just thought that was a nice little cherry on top to give them on top of everything else. So whatever. That was my thinking. I didn't expect the Spurs fans were going to particularly like my proposal either. But when you dig deep into what your franchise is actually trying to do, you really don't want anything to get in the way of your chance of getting Victor Wembanyama. That's it. The end. You're on an arms race to be the worst team possible with the Utah Jazz and the Indiana Pacers, I believe. And maybe another team that might emerge. But it's between y'all two. And the Jazz are about to really get it done. So if you guys are going to keep up with them, probably want something like this to happen. Getting guys like Johnson and Porto the heck up out of there. No, they're going to mess up the situation. So that's my thinking, man. And like I said, the Lakers get the worst end of it because ultimately we are not going to be able to make many moves after that. And I really also think there's so much more money to be saved for the Lakers for waiting on the Kyrie Irving situation instead of trading for him now. Certainly in a situation that brings you back 2 point guards and $65 million in cap space. So I know we're not loving this situation at all. I didn't do this for us. I kind of did it for the Heat, to be honest with you. But my thinking was, if the Lakers involve themselves in a situation like this, we expedite the process of knowing what we're going to be going forward, instead of letting the NBA market dictate how we build. We don't have a whole lot of time to be waiting around for the market to correct so that we can fix our problems, or rather develop our system. I don't want Russell Westbrook on this team for 3 and 4, 5 more weeks, or certainly starting the season, or none of that. We need to get him out of here. We need Kyrie in if we're going to win now, because the most important thing about our situation is now. If we had the clock on our side, there would be many other things that I would rather do than this. But the fact of the matter is, I'm thinking Lakers are running out of time as it pertains to properly preparing to win a championship this season with a brand new squad. You need to be developing systems and starting continuity and not have split focus right here and now. So that's how I look at it, man. This is the preparation for training camp, right? So what are we preparing for? Life with or without Russell Westbrook? Life with or without Kyrie Irving? I'm trying to answer that question as soon as possible with a trade like this. So that's the plus in doing the deal. Otherwise, it ain't no plus. Trust me, it's really not. Not for the Lakers. I hate this for us. But to otherwise hurry this process up and get the market back to basically being correct. If we do this deal, it corrects the market. Now everybody can get back to normal, basically. So that's also what I'm doing. And I'm hoping that the Lakers somehow can make a deal look better than the one I came up with. That's another thing. If we pull the trigger on a deal and it looks like this, I'm kind of looking at our GM and saying, You're not a better GM than me. Like that's basically what I would come up with. Like, come on, man, get us a pick or something. Don't have us taking back $65 million in salary without sweetening the deal for us somehow. But in the presence of this market, looking at how things are so damn expensive, I figured this would probably be the way it would go. It wouldn't be sweet. It wouldn't be pretty, and we would get fleeced. And that's what the market wants to see, apparently, because everybody's against us. So if we take back Kyle Lowry's horrible contract and Kyrie Irving's and don't necessarily find ourselves so happy, I think everybody else will be happy for whatever that's worth. So this is something I'm sure the rest of the league would be quick to do. These other three teams, I'm sure would be quicker to do it than we would, in my humble opinion. And that depends on how the Spurs view certain players I involved here. Like if they totally know they're bringing back Keldon Johnson, and he's not a part of this. If they already have a deal in place where Jakob Poeltl's going to sign an extension, then scratch it. He's not going to be a part of this. Same thing goes with Hero. You know what I mean? Yeah. So those situations could definitely hold that up. But when you consider what the Heat are trying to do, you're getting Kevin Durant. If you had a deal in place with Hero or any of these other guys, I'm pretty sure you guys shake that off and let it go. I don't expect they expect to keep Tyler Hero in any deal that involves Kevin Durant. I hope they don't think they can keep him. They're not. They're definitely not. Hero or Jovic, just throw them in. They're gone. And the rest of the stuff that the Heat gave up, I did as a benefit to them. Kyle Lowry and Duncan Robinson, they don't want that stuff. So, yeah, I know they're going to have to give up picks, so they should be ready for a lot of picks being dumped as well. So, yeah, I just want to further recap on this thing, kind of weigh in on what I was thinking a little more on specifics, you know. And one thing, Brooklyn. One thing that I wanted to make sure I acknowledge here is that I left Ben Simmons with a ton of elite shooting. I was very intentional on that. I made sure that he has Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, Nikola Jovic, Joe Harris, and Seth Curry. I didn't let any of those people leave my organization as a Brooklyn Net. You understand what I'm saying? Like, this is why you leave picks on the table if you're the Nets, because I allowed all of that to happen. All of it. So, yeah, the shooting for Ben. Very deliberate. So yeah, I just want to let people know what I was thinking, man. Get that into the air. My name is BDF44. I thank you all for watching.